Okay, yesterday we were discussing about the use effect hook, right? So by using use effect, we can perform the life cycle methods in functional components. So use effect will take two arguments, right? A function and a dependency array. If we write the logic of function inside of use effect, that will execute for every rendering of the component it will be done. Okay, dependency array will decide when the body of the use effect is going to be executed. Okay, so if we want to perform any cleanup activity, we have to return a function. Inside the body, we have to write logic to clean up the resources or clear the event listeners. We can do it in this return method. Okay, in this way we can write the use effect. So yesterday we saw examples on life cycle demo and tree counts. Right? In case of three components, how it will affect, and also we saw state change watch, right, and prop change watch, right? How it will affect in these cases, how it is going to work. So now, if we want to make a API call, right? So the best place in case of the functional component is, in case of class level component is component did mount, right? Yeah, in case of the functional component, this will be the use effect hook. Okay, use effect hook. Okay, so now what it is showing, it will change the props change author. So now I want to, before going to the API, I just want to put three counts we have, right? Okay, so okay, in three counts, what I will do, right? Okay, I will remove this logic, right? I'm going to increment the counter, right? Now I'm going to call this three counts. Now tell me what it is going to be happen. Is not okay, so I'm going to increment the counter 3. I can say counter 3 plus 1. So I'm expecting infinite loop because it is not. Okay, fine. Okay. So actually what we are doing, right, we are updating the counter right here on click of the button, right, or on loading of the component also it is going to be run, right. So okay, what will happen, it is going to re-render, right. If you see, this is what I am expecting.
Okay.
Observe.
Yeah.
So what is happening? So yeah, when this use effect is going to be executed, whenever the component will load, right, and also this is going to be executed each re-render of the component, right.
Yes.
Okay, what we are doing, we are updating the counter 3 plus 1, right. Okay, which means we are updating the state variable of counter 3, right.
Yeah.
So what will happen, it is automatically trying to set the counter value. Are you seeing?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you are able to have the logic of executing the counter 3, right? So the best way to handle this, use the dependency array in order to execute based on the condition, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Understood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what I'm going to do, right? So I have already created an API. What it will show, right? It will show the list of users. So what is the best place to write the logic to get the information of users from an API call? By using the use effect, right? Okay, so now you remember we saw Axios call, right?
Yes.
Okay, in the Axios call, here this is an endpoint, right? Okay, we call it as an endpoint. Okay, for this endpoint, okay, so it requires headers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can pass the headers in this way. Okay, so header will have key value, right? So it is accepting the authorization key, and the value is this bearer value. Okay, so forget about from where I copied this bearer value, right? So this will be a constant we have to use for this endpoint in order to get the information, right? But in case of real time, what will happen, right? So you may have the one OAuth endpoint, okay? Okay, so OAuth endpoint. Okay, for that, what you have to pass client ID, right? Client secret. Okay, if you pass these two, right, you will get a response as one token. Okay, some token or something you will get. So in the real time way, you will have like this. Okay, OAuth endpoint and client ID and secret. Mostly this should be the post call to get the OAuth endpoint, sorry, OAuth authentication token. Once you got the token, what you are going to do, you will pass to your API call like this. Headers authorization as a bearer token you are going to pass. Okay. So now whenever we are going to call this user thread, what will happen? It is going to be call this API, and it is going to set the user's information into this state variable, correct?
Yeah.
Once we got this user thread, what I'm going to do, I'm going to display the user's information. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this. Okay, I'm going to call user set. So what will happen? You should see the list of users. It is not showing. Okay, let me put it on Chrome.
Okay.
So we are getting some users, right? Okay, so if you see,
Yeah.
if you see the response, right? This is the response I am getting, right?
Yeah.
So on click of this, I want to see the posts that we added for this user, right? So currently just we are displaying the all IDs of the user, correct? As a table format or as a div. Okay, but I want to get the information which are having related to this user with the posts. Okay, so for that we have a different API call to get the posts information from the API, right? So if you see,
Yeah.
okay, we have a posts, right? Okay, on click of the user, are you seeing? On click of the user, I am trying to get the posts, right? This I have written as an inside function, right? Okay, I am passing the user ID here. For which user we want to get the list of posts, right? So whenever we select the user, right, what I'm going to do, I'm enabling this post, right? Post component. If selected user is equal to the current user ID, then it will enable our post component, correct?
Yeah.
So in the post component, what I'm doing, I'm retrieving the post information from one API call.
Okay.
For this, just it sends us the user ID, right? So if you see any response, okay, for this it seems we don't have posts. For this also, okay, if you see for post 25, we have some response, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the body. Okay, just I'm displaying that body here. So these are the posts for this user ID 25. Okay, so what we are doing, we are displaying just post title here. So whenever we are trying to click on the user ID, we are retrieving the post information. So what scenario it will come? Can you see this use effect and tell me what we have done here? What is the dependency that we use? This is the use effect, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, user ID.
Hmm.
So we are getting the user ID here.
Okay. As a proper property, right?
Yes.
For this post component.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
Mm. I didn't get it here.
Okay. So this you understood, right? We are making an API call, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, if we don't specify this user ID, what will happen? How many times this use effect is going to be executed?
I think many times.
Okay, many times, sir. But I maintained a array, right, with no value.
Okay. Okay. It will just stop by once.
Yes, it will execute only once, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but if we are updating the user ID, I want to execute it, right? Are you following?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm passing user ID here. So whenever my user ID is going to change, okay, this dependency, which means the dependency value in the use effect of user ID is going to be changed. We want to update this state, right, with the current user posts after getting the response from this API call.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this way, we will perform an API integration with our use effect.
Okay.
Okay. So clear, right? Any doubts?
No.
No. Yeah. So I think if you start practicing, you will understand the better.
Okay.
Yeah, since if we practice, then only we will get to know the pitfalls of what are the mistakes that we are doing. Otherwise, while studying, it will be simple and we are thinking that we got everything. But while practicing only, we will learn any programming language or any framework. Okay, so fine. Yeah. Next, we are going to see about the React router. Okay, so introduction to React router. Okay, 2 minutes I will come.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, introduction to React router. So far, how many pages that we are
Hello. Hello. I can't hear you.
this got disconnected. So yeah. So what will happen, right? So far, whenever we are trying to hit any application like currently we are hitting localhost 3000. So by default it is rendering the or showing the index.html in the browser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the same way, if you hit any application like
Are you recording
yeah, recording is going on.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we hit any google.com or any flipkart.com, so by default all these will have an default page called index.html. Okay, so in this way it is going to render the default page whenever we are trying to hit any website. Okay, so in the same way for our localhost application we have index.html, right? So in this index.html we are rendering our app component, right? So far whatever the examples that we covered, we have shown only one page, right? The page is called index.html.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But in most of the websites, do you see how many pages most of the websites will have? For example,
What do you mean by that? How many pages?
yeah. So if you visit any website, what are the pages that you are going to see? Suppose if you are trying to visit any Amazon.com or Bitcoin.com, so you will see the home page, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And also you will see the orders page, right?
Yes.
Right? And also you can see the contact us page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also you can see some about page, about us. Okay, like this, you may also see some product information. Okay, like this you will have the different pages for any website, right? So how we are going to implement this feature in React, right? Okay, implementing of different pages in React. Okay, this can be done by using the concept called React Router. Okay. So next. So all the React applications are single page applications. Okay, all the React apps are single page applications. Okay, single page application is nothing but where we are only sending the one HTML file to the browser, right? We are sending only one HTML page to the browser. Okay. So what happens when we are going to navigate to different page like about a contact page, what it is going to be happening? So if you see, now I have a browser. But in this I am going to call localhost 3000. So here we have a server. Correct? In the server, this is the browser. Okay. So whenever we are trying to perform an initial request, okay, so what going to happen? Whenever we are going to do an initial request, it is going to send us a index.html right back as a response.
Okay.
We are going to get the response as a index.html. Okay. Now the server returns the index.html to the browser. Okay, assume in index.html we have multiple pages, right? I mean to say about us or contact us pages are there. Okay, so in case of the single page application, instead of going to the browser, what will happen? The request will goes to the React router. Okay, so now if I go to the page called, assume we have an endpoint like /about, right? So
Okay.
what will happen? We have a server. Okay, instead of going to the server, what it will do? It doesn't go to the server. The request will goes to the one component called React router. Okay, this is our router. Okay, so what will happen? This React router will identify for this about, okay, what is the component that we need to render inside of the browser, right? That it is going to be identified and it is going to send back to the browser.
Okay.
So in case of about us, you have already app.js got rendered in the browser, right? So now what it is going to happen? It is going to render some component called about us.component. About.js component is going to be rendered.
Okay.
Whenever we are trying to get the /about component. Okay. So in this way, instead of going to the server, it bypasses to the React router. The React router will identify for this URL what is the component that it has to be executed. Okay. Next. What is routing or navigation? Okay, so the routing or navigation is nothing but basically we are going or moving inside of the website from one page to another page. I mean to say navigate within the website from one page to another. Okay, this one we call it as a navigation or routing that. So most of the cases user can start with home page. User can start with the home page or any dashboard page. If we have any dashboard page that we are going to show whenever user trying to access the website, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the each section of the page will have URL.
Okay.
Okay, I mean to say based on the URL we are going to display the page contents, right? So assume for HTTP, assume this is the one books.com we are trying to visit. So by default whenever user comes to the home page we are going to display the index.html, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So assume user trying to look for a specific resource of a website, right? So our website is books.com. Okay, our resources are, what are the resources that we can have in our website? Books, right? Okay, so assume user trying to look for a book of React.js, right? Yeah. If user gives this is the one, right, that we are going to say for the React.js resource the user trying to access.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Suppose if we are going to create or manage or edit any resource, what we can do? Suppose I want to create a new book or I want to edit existing book, right? So what we can do? We can say /books.com/create, right? Or you can say React.js/edit.
Okay.
Yeah, in that way we can maintain the URLs in order to perform based on the functionality of our website, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so whenever we are trying to get the any information by using the URL, what will happen? That time the React router will be intervened, then automatically the corresponding component will be mounted for that URL. Okay, so what are the possible scenarios the React router will be useful if we want to develop any page, any application as a routing, right, or navigations inside of our application. So first one. So suppose if we are trying to access the /about, what the React router will do, instead of loading the entire page, just it updates the what is the component that we have configured for this /about, right? That component is going to be rendered inside of our page. Okay, so just change the component, not reload the entire page. Okay, so the state of the components should be the same. Okay, so which means state of the existing rendered component should not be changed, right? Even if you change the route. Okay, this will be taken care by our React router. Okay, so we can able to navigate to all our pages. Okay, so next point. So the router should be able to know when we have to return a specific page, or when we are going to return a default page, or when we are going to display a not found page. Okay, sometimes if we are trying to access any website with some URL, right? So if that URL doesn't exist, you will get like 404 not found or something, right?
Yes.
So we have to configure all these things in our React router. Should be able to know when return a specific page, a default page, also a not found page. Okay, next. So sometimes it is required to get the information from the URL. Okay, what type of information we required to be captured from the URL?
About the page.
Okay. You know query params, query parameters?
No.
Path parameter?
No.
I already told. In case of Ajax. Right, so
Okay.
So what is the path param and what is the query param? Now if you see search colon is there, right? Sorry, search question mark. Okay, these are all called the query params, right?
Okay.
Whatever we have in the URL, which separated by question mark, right? Okay, these all we call them as a query parameters. Okay, so for this URL, what are the query parameters we have? Q, and this is another query param, and source is another query param, and EI is another query param. These are some of the query parameters. Okay, so whenever we are trying to do any activity, right? So sometimes it is required to get this information from URL, right?
Okay.
Are you getting?
Yeah.
So like if we are trying to search for a book, right? Okay, what I am going to do, book ID is equal to 121. So whenever user trying to hit this URL, I will assume that user trying to look for a book of ID 1213. I'm going to display that information to the end user. Okay, sometimes the user trying to get the book's information like this, right? So this one we call it as a path variable or path parameters.
Okay.
So by using the path, what type of book user trying to access, right? Thus that we are going to provide as a path variable.
Okay.
Okay, so all these features are available in case of our React router. Okay, so we will see the examples. You will be able to understand now. React router is a package. Okay, so in order to use React router, we have to install into our React application. Okay, we can install React router by using npm, right? Okay, we have 3 packages. React router is composed of 3 packages. What are those? React router and the React router DOM and the React router native. Okay, so the React router contains the 4 routing components. Okay, that we are going to see what are the 4 routing components that React router contains. The React router DOM contains the routing API required for browsers. Okay, can you guess about React Native?
For mobile.
Yeah, correct. For mobile applications, it will be useful. So, in order to install this React router and React router DOM, what we have to do? We have to call npm install --save React router and React router DOM. Okay, so in this way we can install these 2 React router packages into our React application. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to see the example on React router and what are the API components that React router provides and React router DOM provides. We will see them in tomorrow's class.
Okay.
Okay, so far any doubts you have?